Welcome friends in my today's lecture on maxillary fracture management. Specially we are considering Lefort 1 type of fracture and its management today. Myself Dr. Heman Bhavnerkar. I am a MDS Mumbai based oral and maxillofacial surgeon. Let us start. As we know that most commonly when there is a patient met with the accident, there is a high chances of mid facial fracture along with the mandibular fracture. I have already covered my mandibular fracture and management in my previous lecture. Today we are going to see how to manage a middle third face fracture and its surgical management. Let us start. As we know that a middle third of face is consist of many bones: maxillary bone, nasal bone, zygomatic bone, vomer bone, right? So it is an area bounded superiorly by the line drawn from the zygomatico frontal suture across the frontonasal maxillo frontomaxillary suture and the frontozygomatic suture at the opposite side. Inferiorly the nasal plate and posteriorly the vomer bone. Right. The mid face involvement of following osteology, right? It has a two maxillary bone, two zygomatic bones, two palatine bones, two zygomatic process of temporal bone, two nasal bones, two lacrimal bones, one vomer bone at midline, ethmoid and its attached conchae posteriorly and superiorly, and two inferior conchae and pterygoid plate of sphenoid bone. This is the anatomy, right? First classification of mid face fracture or maxillary fractures given by Rowan Williams in 1985. I am not going in details but just mentioning the few things today, right? The fracture is classified as fracture not involved on the occlusion, which means the central region, and sometimes it involved with the occlusion also, which include a lateral nasal injuries and a medial and anterior nasal injuries. A lateral region fracture involving mostly zygomatic bone involvement, arch involvement, and zygomatic bone and maxillary sinus involvement also. Fracture involving with the occlusion we can consider three types: a dento-alveolar fracture, subzygomatic fracture which include Lefort 1, Lefort 2 and suprazygomatic, which means a Lefort 3 fractures. Today we are seeing in detail Lefort 1 fracture, which is also known as a low level fracture. Lefort 2 is a pyramidal fracture, and Lefort 3 is transfer fracture at superior level. Here today we are seeing in detail Lefort 1 fracture, which include only maxilla at low level. Etiology of mid-face fracture is mostly road traffic accidents, fall, assaults, industrial injuries, post injuries, and sometimes war injuries also. What is a Lefort 1 fracture? Lefort 1 fracture is a horizontal maxillary mid-face fracture, results from forces of injury directed low on the maxillary alveolar rim in a downward direction. It is also known as a Guerin fracture or a floating palate or floating maxilla fracture, and usually involve the inferior nasal aperture also. Here we can able to see a Lefort 1 fracture. It starts from the inferior part of the nasal aperture, laterally going to the lateral wall of maxillary sinus, posteriorly to the tuberosity. Right here, the midline inferior part of nasal septum is also involved, and posteriorly a pterygoid lamina is also involved. By definition, the fracture line extends backward from the lateral margins of anterior nasal aperture below the zygomatic buttresses to cross the lower third of the pterygoid laminae. The fracture also possesses along the lateral wall of the nose and the lower third of the nasal septum to join the lateral fracture behind the tuberosities, right? Here we can able to see from lateral side the fracture line. It starts from the inferior part of the nasal aperture just above the apex of the all the maxillary teeth, going posterior of from the lateral wall of maxillary sinus up to the tuberosity. As we said that it's unilateral or sometimes a bilateral fracture also, which is inferior to maxilla just above the root of the teeth. This is the main things to be highlighted. Dental arch is a mobile with the anterior displacement of the central incisor is also possible in such a cases. What are the signs and symptoms of the Lefort 1 fracture? Mostly swelling of the upper lip. Ecchymosis is present in beneath the buccal mucosa of the each zygomatic arches and occlusal disturbances. Mostly such a patients comes with the nasal bleeding, epistaxis also, and they also told sometimes that the occlusion is disturbed, that they are saying the our teeth is not at position before trauma and after the trauma, which means the occlusion is disturbed. Impacted type of fracture may be almost immobile, and it is only by the grasping of the maxillary teeth and applying the little firm pressure that characteristic that can fail which a diagnostic of the feature. Sometimes we have to take precautions that the sometimes a Guerin sign is present, which is classically characterized by the ecchymosis in the region of greater palatine vessels or the posterior maxillary area. In such a fracture, whole fragment drops down and patient has to keep mouth slightly open to accommodate. Increase vertical dimensions of the bite. Soft tissue laceration is also present. Midline palatal split is also present in sometimes. Due to this, a midline diastema occurs and damage or the subluxation of the maxillary anterior teeth is also possible. So how we diagnose this is on radiographs. On the 2D radiographs, the most commonly Waters view, AP skull view and the CT scans we generally advise to the patients. Mostly 2D radiographs are not much diagnostic for minute fracture lines because there is a many overlapping of the bones. So the best modality is a 3D CT scans. Here Lefort 1 fracture we can able to see it starts from the inferior part of the nasal aperture going lateral to the maxillary sinus, going posteriorly up to the tuberosity. Here on the axial section we can able to see the lateral wall of maxillary sinus posteriorly going to the lamina of the bone are also fracture. Here pterygoid plate is also fracture. Here pterygoid plates. Now we come to the treatment part. Our aim of the any fracture management is fracture reduction, fixation and immobilization, right? First we go for reduction. Whenever there is occlusal disturbances, as we learn in mandibular fracture management, we have to manage the occlusion. So how we manage the occlusion? With the help of interdental wiring, arch bar placement or IMF screws. Arch bar placement videos I already covered in my previous videos. If you haven't seen that videos, you can refer my that videos. Close reduction. The maxilla is held together with the Rose disimpaction forces and maxilla we try to keep on their normal position. Here on this patient maxilla fracture is due to trauma, it goes posteriorly impacted. So with the help of bilateral Rose disimpaction forceps, we hold the maxilla with the forceps, we rotate it and position it in their normal position. Hylton-Williams forceps are also applied on the buccal aspect of the alveolar process and medial compression is extended until the two halves of the upper jaw or approximate. It is possible combine use of both the forces with the Rose disimpaction and Hylton-Williams. Then we can do a circumzygomatic wiring also. For this 24 or 26 gauge of wire we can use. Here a mandibular arch bar is connected with the a circumzygomatic wire of 26 gauge wire, and the occlusion IMF is achieved. Right here, the one end of the trans or circumzygomatic arch bar is passed medial to the zygomatic arch. Take out from the zygomatic awl on opposite side and take out from the buccal aspect of the zygomatic bone, and here the wire is tightened up. Nowadays we are not so frequent to use a circumzygomatic arch wiring. Mostly we do a IMF wiring. Here a pterygoid fossa and mandibular wiring is also used in Leeford 1 fracture to stabilize the fracture segment. Here the pterygoid and the pyriform fossa is used for the circum or transosseous wiring. Interlacial suspension. From the pyriform fossa, as I said earlier in the images, a mandibular wiring is used only in the Leeford 1 type 1 fractures. As this is a low level fracture, if the fracture is above the pyriform fossa or the nasal apparel, then we cannot do this kind of internasal suspensions. Now the reducing the maxilla, as I have already shown with the Rose disinfection forces. The maxillomandibular complex is rotated superiorly until the point where the maxillary bone contact occurs at the fracture site. It pushed anteriorly and superiorly. So the TMJ also goes in their normal position. Now open reduction. Intraoral vestibular incision is taken from the first molar to first molar on the either side. Mucoperiosteal flap is reflected. Disimpaction forces used for the fragment is brought to the normal occlusion. Then temporary IMF is carried out. Here a vestibular maxillary incision is taken from the 6 to 6, first molar to first molar. Incision is placed. The procedure mostly carried under general anesthesia. Here the cautery instrument is used for the incision. Mobilization. After exposure of the fracture segment through the maxillary vestibular approach, the fracture has to be mobilized to enable a reduction and the fixation. Placing the patient into IMF. After the fracture has been adequately mobilized, the patient is placed into IMF to maintain its occlusion, as I already covered. Fixation. Fixation of the, mostly we do a rigid fixation with the titanium plates and screw. This part I have already covered in mandibular fracture management. For maxilla, we use a 1.5 or 1 mm titanium plates with 6 mm or 6 or 8 mm long titanium screw. In Leeford 1 fracture, we have to place such a titanium plates or L-shaped plates, or 3 hole with gap or 6 hole with gaps or 2 hole with gap according to the vertical length of the maxilla. We have to stabilize maxilla at the both the end. Here a 2 L-shaped plate, 3 holes on superior part and 2 holes at the inferior part is placed on the both the side. Sometimes we need to fix the additional plate of the to the nasomaxillary buttresses region if the gapping present after the posterior plate is fixed. After the fixation is done, a suturing with the Vicryl 30 suture, layer wise suturing is required. Here at the midline suturing is shown. At midline, first we have to suture at the frenum, buccal frenum region, and then on the both the sides to achieve aesthetic results. After the treatment, you can again check the occlusion, and if minor correction is required, then you can do with it. External fixation also sometimes can be used, but nowadays we mostly avoid the external fixation with the help of external gears. Now mostly open reduction and internal fixation is done. Many times I already covered in clinical features that with the help with the Lefort 1 fracture there is a chances of maxillary or palatal fracture is also there. Here in such a cases a palatal hematoma and the two maxillary bone is separation is occurred. Classification of palatal fracture is as given below. Type 1 alveolar fracture, type 1A anterior alveolus contains only incisional teeth and alveolus in that region. Type 1B posterior lateral contains premolar, molars and alveolar in that region. Type 2 a sagittal fracture, type 3 parasagittal fractures, type 4 paraalveolar fracture, type 5 complex fractures, type 6 transverse fractures. Here we can see the anterior maxillary fracture or unilateral or parasagittal suture fracture or midline palatal fracture, parapalatal sagittal fractures, it goes to the posterior side or complex fractures or the transverse fractures. How we can diagnose on radiography, as I shown earlier that there are many 2D radiography is present, but a 3D radiograph is always better. Here on the PA skull or the water's view, a frontal sinuses, orbit, a maxillary sinuses, a nasal septum, nasal cavity, and a hard palate we can able to see here hard palate. So any breach in discontinuity in these bones we can diagnose that there is a fracture. After the diagnosis we have to do a manual reduction. Perform the reduction with the help of two maxillary halves to reduce the with the Rose disimpaction forceps also. After the reduction we can do a transpalatal wiring to facilitate and maintain the occlusal. Then IMF also helpful in some cases to maintaining the occlusion. Plate applications or open reduction internal fixation. Sometimes a transpalatal plate fixation is also required. Here a 4-hole with gap single plate is placed palatally. Here a plus sign or cross sign plate is also used. This is also called as a 3D plate. Here a Lefort 1 fracture is managed with the two L-shaped titanium plates. Here in panfacial fracture a mandible fracture is also present. Anterior tooth is also avulsed, so the occlusion maintained with the help of the arch bar and IMF. Then the Lefort fracture is managed with the L-shaped plates. Then anterior nasal fracture is managed with the long or thin titanium plates. Then a frontal nasal suture fracture is also here, and the frontozygomatic fracture is also present. Here on the clinical view, intraoral approach is taken, fracture site is open, then one plate L-shaped plate is placed and fixation is done. Here for palatal fracture, one square shaped 3D plate is placed for palatal fracture reduction. Complication: mostly inaccurate reduction leads to malunion of the fracture or non-union of the fracture. Sometimes in rarely maxillary region there is a chances of infectious non-healing of the fractures. We will see the detailed complication of fracture healing during fracture healing in my subsequent videos. In my next videos, I will cover a naso-orbitoethmoid or floor of the orbit fracture management. For learning free oral